secondary, yes.
Yeah, and so I do believe this could be a big Mac Jones day. I was talking to Burge before you jumped on Puma. Like, that secondary for the Buccaneers is god awful. Like, they're ranked last in most categories. So, speaking of Mac Jones, and this is one of the questions I want to pose to you guys. We have 3-4 questions that we're going to run through here. How would you grade Mac Jones through 3 games so far? I know, Puma, you have a couple thoughts on this as well. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you guys, and we'll discuss Mac Jones and his performance so far.
After you, Burge.
Yeah, so, there's been a lot that I've liked that I've seen from Mac Jones through 3 games. I liked, in terms of him, in the game, I like his poise in the pocket. I like that he is actually tucked the ball and run a few times, which I didn't really expect to see out of him, in this game. In the season, to be honest with you, because he wasn't built as a running quarterback out of college. He was built like the style that Tom Brady plays, where he's a pocket passer and that's it. And I like his decision making. Yes, you can call him a check down Charlie all you want, but the fact of the matter is, he has not turned the ball over much. Again, going back to what we talked about at the Saints, I'm not going to fault him for 2 of the 3 interceptions in that game. So the fact that he has 1 interception through 3 games, in my eyes, that you could kind of put on him, that's a massive win. The stuff that I don't like about him so far is, seeing him on the sidelines and after that Saints game where he seemed really dejected and all that. And I say that now, and, I believe that is something that, whether you want to say it's coached up or he can learn it, he's an emotional player, and I think that's what it comes down to, and he needs to learn how to, manage those emotions through the season and through his career, and I think ultimately he will. He comes from a good pipeline of coaching, and he's in with the best coach of all, in my opinion, the best coach of all time in New England. So I think that it ended up working out through 3 games. We'll get into that. Don't worry. Through 3 games, I probably give him a C plus B minus range, just because I want to see him take more shots. And going back to the Saints game, he did check into a couple of those run plays that were resulted in 0 or negative yardage, where I would have liked to have seen the confidence out of him to take shots towards the end zone. So C minus B plus C minus B minus Jesus Christ. C plus.
This is brought to you in part by Captain Morgan.
Amen. C plus B minus through him. I'm not discouraged. He's better than I would have expected out of a rookie quarterback leading this complicated offense early on in the season.
I'm not going to judge Burge. I've been powered by whiskey the last 2 episodes that we've done today. So
you will be tonight.
I'm gonna have a victory drink for all of us after doing 2 episodes. By the way, first time we've done back to back pods that was not in emergency podcast fashion. So
amen.
Burge, I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm not gonna go like B minus. Like, I'm in like the C, like borderline C plus range, just because I'm not gonna be disingenuous. I said on the pod earlier prior to week 1, like when it came out that he won the job, I'll cop it. Like, the dude looked the part. He looked like he was calling the right protections in preseason. He was checking in and out of the right place and whatnot. Take it for what it is. It's preseason. But, again, he looked the part. Week 1, Dolphins, in a winnable game. Week 2, it's the Jets. Going to be honest with you, kind of lucky it was the Jets that they were playing. The New Orleans Saints were trying to find ways to lose this game, and New England couldn't capitalize it. But getting back to the quarterback, my reason for the C plus borderline is it's not the talent. We know it's there. Again, he looks the part. My concern is for what's going on in between the ears upstairs. And I didn't put a whole lot of stock in this, and I'm going to venture a guess you guys didn't either coming into the draft and going back and reading some of the draft stuff of, like, the air quote anger management issues, emotional guy, the DUIs off the field. Obviously, that's a big problem. Like, you could freaking kill somebody. But, clearly nobody cared, and clearly he did whatever he needed to do to right the ship. But, like, the fact of the matter is, it is not a good look when you're the rookie quarterback. I don't care how much you love the game. If you're in a locker room full of cagey veterans, and they have to come up to you and console you because you basically look like you're crying on the bench because of a regular season loss, I don't know how that translates to winning over the locker room with, dogs like Matt Judon or dogs like Kyle Van Noy or whatnot. Like, if maybe this was a locker room where it was a young roster, let's say like the Jacksonville Jaguars or whatnot, that might fly. But like right now, I don't see how he could possibly win over the locker room at that point. Maybe, I'll be happy to be pleasantly surprised if we round the corner and he's able to cope with whatever like pressure is going on. There's a reason why you're getting drafted 15th overall. The team wasn't good. You're the successor to Tom Brady. You're Bill Belichick putting, his chips all in on you to kind of resurrect the New England Patriots for life after Tom Brady. And if this is what's going to happen after a New Orleans Saints game, I hope they get the kid at Gurney in a straitjacket after this game on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. And I think I'm right there with you guys as well with the physical stuff on the field. Like, I have him in the middle of the grade at C as well. I don't think he's a bad quarterback, and I don't think he's a good quarterback either. Like, I think right now he's just right in the middle. He's learning, and it's way too early for us to make any sort of, like, definitive stance on who he is as an NFL quarterback, right? Things that I've liked so far, I love his feathery touch that he has on some of his balls. He has really good touch when it comes to getting the ball over the linebackers. We've seen that a few times when those high arcing balls come down for James White in the first couple of games. He wins at the back shoulder throws. I think he's really good at that throw. But some of the weaknesses, man, and Puma, you hit it right in the head. And this is my first red flag for Mac Jones because of not just the incident of him sitting on the bench like crying, right, and essentially having Bill Belichick hold his hand off the field or whatever that was. But it seems like it's a pattern of behavior, right? It seems that he has issues controlling his emotions. And if we're going to obviously, bury Tom Brady for being emotionally too high on some of those games, in New England, then we obviously got to look at Mac Jones as well with some of his emotional issues and how that's translating to his on-field performance, right? In regards to... I lost my train of thought for a second, but... Like I think exactly right. I just think that Puma, you hit on the head that if you show that kind of, I don't want to say mental weakness just yet, but that kind of emotion over a regular season loss, like you're crying on the sideline, like how is that going to look in the locker room? Like how is that going to essentially help men follow you into battle when the guy that was here before you was one of the fiercest, mentally tough people the league has ever seen, right? Let's be real, 100% here. Mac Jones cannot win on his physical abilities. He just can't. He's above average in every slight. He has to win with his mental makeup, and so far, his mental makeup to me isn't there. Obviously, that's very early. It's 3 games in. Things can change, like we all said, but we're just reacting to what we have. And at the moment, I am concerned about what those guys see in him. And furthermore, the last point on this is, like, how is he going to handle Bill Belichick turning on a projector to show game film in front of the whole room and then tear him a new one? Like, we know he does that on a consistent basis. He did it with Tom Brady for 20 years, and eventually after 20 years, even Tom Brady cracked. How is this kid going to handle that pressure and that fire coming his way? And that's my real question.
You want me to go with that, Puma?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, yeah, have at it. You got the floor, brother.
Now, I like to think that, with again going back to Tom Brady in his early years, that Belichick wasn't lighting up a young 22-year-old. Brady was quarterbacking a veteran team at that point. You had Willie McGinnis back there, you had Teddy Bruschi. They were all veterans. Larry Malloy, Ty Law, you name it. So I like to think that was not occurring at that point. And, it got to a point, obviously once Brady was a veteran, it was established that kind of behavior started. I don't have anything to back that up. And it's just kind of a gut feeling with, when you're trying to build a rookie at the most critical position in the league, and it was back then too. No matter how much the game has changed, it was the most critical position because the quarterback takes the ball, drives the ball down the field, and is the one that puts up the points at the end of the day, controls the offense. So I like to think that there's a coaching aspect to this where I don't want to say they're babying the rookie, but like they're going to ease that type of behavior in. And I like to think that Mac Jones will eventually get it, considering him being coached by Nick Saban for 4 years down at Alabama, however long he was there. I don't know how long he was there, but like he was coached by Nick Saban, who comes from the Belichick style of coaching. At the end of the day, like they work together. You can go back as far to say it was Parcells, but they come from the same style of coaching. So I like to think that will come in time. Like you said, it's been 3 weeks. We're going to see these types of performances. We said it in the preseason that we're going to ride the ups and downs with him. This may be just one of the downs with him, with his his behavior on the sidelines. So I like to think that it's going to eventually build from this. Like I think you can agree with me right now. This last week could very well be the absolute low point for this team, and and when I say that, I mean it could stay this low for the rest of the season. Like there's still that possibility there, but like I don't see how they get worse than what they were doing last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this could be the low point. I mean, Brady could drive a stake in the Patriots season this week. Like if it's a big 56 to 24-point blowout, like I mean that is going to linger for a long time with this team and how young they are. So I think this is a low-key must perform to a high level game for Mac Jones. And the thing that I want to bring up is I don't think this kid has been mentally tested ever in his whole life. And we're going to bring up the this article and that article, but strictly on the football field, this kid has always been the front runner, right? I mean, we're talking almost every single game last year they played for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're up by 21 points at halftime, except for 3 of them, and even those they ended up winning by 15 points, right? So I don't think he's ever been put through the ringer on the field, and I think what we saw on Sunday was something that nobody saw at Alabama, and I think it's going to be something to keep an eye on because we didn't expect this out of him, and now we know it's in him that he's going to go in the tank or maybe have a sulking moment or whatever it is when he's not performing well and he's under the pressure.
Right. I like to think that that doesn't happen, and it happened now, and if it's going to continue, for 14 more games, we have a problem on our hands, and I will be the first to admit that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say real quick. I did what I normally don't do, and that's listen to Boston sports radio. But I was full of shock. I was
Brady versus Belichick week,
dude. There are times at work where it's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's I gotta go make some popcorn real quick. This is gonna be something real quick. But I mean, in reality, Monday, when Zoe and Bertrand were talking, and they brought up the mental health aspect of Mac Jones, and I understand in the time and age that we live in, it's kind of faux pas to talk about an athlete and mental health. But when you hear for the last 48, and by the time you hear this, it's going to be 72 hours, people, commentators, sports writers talking about the kid's mental health well-being. That may be not for it's going to be a problem. Obviously, if there's something going on with the kid, I want the kid to get help. I don't want to see somebody struggle and fail and whatever. But when you're looking from as ruthless as this sounds, from a business standpoint, you drafted this kid in the 15th overall. He is going to be your franchise quarterback. And by the de facto, he's going to be the face of your franchise, in theory, for the next 5 to 10 years. If we are through week 3 and your really only standout performance was, in a loss against the Miami Dolphins and then against the New York Jets, but everybody crucified you and Josh McDaniels because you guys wouldn't push the ball downfield, if this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, mentally upstairs, it's going to be a long season, kid. And I don't know if maybe, obviously this is early. It's week 3. I'm not going to say he's a bust. But, like, if this trend continues through the entire year, it's gonna be a problem. And I'll even point to a Boston Herald article that came out today where I forget the writer's name, but he was talking to Josh McDaniels, and Josh McDaniels straight up said, like the third paragraph in this article, I just hope a bad game for Mac doesn't snowball into a bad season. And to me, that's like a veiled comment of the kid needs to toughen up a bit and get mentally stronger kind of deal. And I said this in the group chat. What's bad when my aunt, who really doesn't watch the New England Patriots, is texting me and texting my mom being like, hey, I don't know what's going on with the kid on the bench, but like the kid needs to get tough. So obviously, like I said, if there's a legit issue, like coping problem, whatever, by all means get help. But like from X's and O's standpoint, it's gonna be a long season, man.